Rather than focus his attention on the wildfires engulfing California or reuniting migrant families separated at the US-Mexico border, President Donald Trump's target is one of America's most celebrated athletes, LeBron James. James has gotten a lot of off-season media attention lately, first for moving to the Los Angeles Lakers, and then for opening a school for at-risk youths in his hometown, Akron, Ohio. James also sat down for an interview with CNN's Don Lemon, and Trump was furious after LeBron criticized him.
You know, we are in a position right now in America, more importantly, where this race thing is taking over, you know, and because I believe our president is kind of trying to divide us. For him to, like I said, use sports to kind of divide us is something I can't sit back and not say nothing.
Trump immediately hit back on his favorite social media platform, tweeting to his 53 million followers, LeBron James was just interviewed by the dumbest man in television, Don Lemon. You made LeBron look smart, which isn't easy to do. I like Mike. Trump was talking about Michael Jordan, the basketball legend. Jordan, in turn, heaped praise on the LA Lakers' new recruit and his community outreach efforts. In 2013, Trump was singing James's praises on Twitter, saying congratulations to King James on winning Athlete of the Year. LeBron is also a great guy. Trump's reaction to NFL players taking a knee to protest against police treatment of African Americans has also made him a rather divisive figure. The US president was particularly scathing in his criticism of team owners who weren't taking a stronger stance against players, like firing them.
There was an article today, it was reported, that NFL owners don't want to pick him up because they don't want to get a nasty tweet from Donald Trump. Do you believe that?
While many have blasted what could be seen as racist rhetoric, Trump maintains it is not.
I've never said anything about race. This has nothing to do with race or anything else.
Not so, says one of the NBA's most celebrated coaches.
You know, comments that demean cultures, ethnic groups, races, women. I'm more worried about and more confused by the people around our president. These are intelligent people.
Trump's standoff with LeBron James is likely to further fuel tensions in the US sporting community. But there seems to be a belief that LeBron, who's also producing a documentary series on sport in the current political climate,
you guys are unbelievable,
is already looking a lot more presidential than the current commander-in-chief.
Maybe. Well, Allen Linton joins me from Chicago to talk about it all. Allen, always great having you on Beyond the Game. Now, Trump fires off yet again towards LeBron James, but why and what's the point of it all?
I wish I had a clear answer. I think it comes down to two things. One is President Trump has always, before he was president and even now, been about himself and feels like people that attack him, or as he views his criticisms of him, that he needs to respond to. And so a lot of this seems to be immaturity from the highest office. The other point, and I don't think it's too bold to say, is that he appears to want to drive a wedge between primarily African Americans and white people going into the midterms in 2018. The attacks on LeBron James after opening up a school and other athletes, as the report talked about, does seem to be a focus on primarily black athletes that are speaking up and caring about their community, about their country, as some sort of enemy or in an oppositional position to the president. And he wants to highlight that.
Well, as you just heard from the report, LeBron has described Trump as using sports as a divisive tool. Now, how optimistic are you that LeBron James and other athletes are going to turn this into, or just overshadow the negative? Because he is doing a lot of work for the community as well, and he has proven himself to be more presidential than the commander-in-chief.
One of the difficult things about this process is that oftentimes the negative does outshadow and outsize the positive that's happening. I think one of the things that LeBron James, Steph Curry, Colin Kaepernick have tried to do is focus very clearly and intentionally about building up and supporting, using their power as athletes, both resources like their attention to highlight issues, and in the case of LeBron, actually putting up his own money to support young people in Akron. I think it's going to be a really difficult moment in time for the country because the negative attention tends to get more play in the media, it's brought up more in political situations than the positive. And so I think President Trump is going to continue along with this line of attack against these athletes, particularly because they're viewed as a threat as they highlight the hypocrisy coming from the highest office and taking on a greater role in improving the communities that they're from.
Okay, so why doesn't he go after the likes of Greg Popovich and Steve Kerr, who have actually been probably more outspoken than other athletes?
It's tough to come up with any other reason besides race. Race has always been historically in the country a dividing wedge, recognition of different life opportunities, the difference between equity and opportunity and equality and opportunity. And so I think there isn't as much traction for Donald Trump, particularly with his constituents, when going after someone like a Greg Popovich who has a military experience, really well respected. But there is when going after LeBron James, certainly because athletes are thought to be in a subservient position, that they should be grateful for their opportunity to play these games, to have this opportunity to make a healthy amount of money doing something that is viewed as trivial as playing a sport. And so I think there's a lot of attention on LeBron James, Steph Curry, stars like Candace Parker in the WNBA, raising awareness to these inequalities, letting them know that yes, they're big athletes, but also they're people that are dealing with and struggling with these issues. And so I think Donald Trump recognizes that this is a historical tension. It's a tension that can divide and galvanize people away from some of the more issues where he's prone to be not as heralded in, and resonate with his base overall. Not the athletes and not most of the sports fans, but his base that views these athletes as privileged and not being grateful enough. Something that's a historical trend in America.
Okay, one more question, and I do need a very quick answer. Can you see LeBron James going into politics?
I imagine that he will step in and out of politics. I don't know how high that goes, but he's a leader, and I think he'll continue being a leader throughout his career and certainly beyond it.
All right, Alan, always a pleasure talking to you. Thanks for coming on.